I let strangers on the internet plan my day at Magic Kingdom, and well, wait till you see what they picked. Hello, Man Fam, and welcome back to the Strangers Decide series, the show where I use popular travel websites like Yelp and TripAdvisor to plan my day at the theme parks. Today, we are at the most popular theme park in the world, the Magic Kingdom, to see what the internet says are the best and worst things to do at this park. We've done the other 3 Walt Disney World parks already, but wait till you see what was decided here at Magic Kingdom. Now today, I will be doing what the internet says is the best and worst ride, the best and worst dining experience, and the best and worst show. And like in episodes before, I will weigh in as a professional theme park goer, which is still a ridiculous job title that I get to claim. If this is your first episode of the series, you may be asking yourself, why would I make content based on general travel websites like Yelp and TripAdvisor, as opposed to using all my theme park knowledge, experience, going to Walt Disney World, or theme park planning websites? And well, 1, it's fun. It's a fun way to showcase different things in the park. And 2, most importantly, it's very interesting to me to see what non-theme park enthusiasts, non-Disney adults, just your more average family coming to the parks, what they rank as the top and bottom experiences. Because in all the other episodes, it has been very different from what the theme park enthusiast community would say. I know for me, whose entire life and career revolves around theme parks, as well as many of you who are watching who are diehard theme park fans, you have a lot of strong opinions. But again, it's interesting to see if you are a visitor that only comes once every couple years or has never been before, what experiences really resonate or don't with you, and that's what we're gonna explore today at Magic Kingdom. And let's kick things off at the bottom, because you know you can only go up from there, and let's head to the land that is home to both the worst food and worst ride, according to the internet. Any guesses? If you guessed the first land we'd be headed to today is Tomorrowland, congratulations. That's right, the land of the future is home to both the worst dining experience and worst ride in Magic Kingdom, allegedly. We're gonna start with a little snicky snack. Now, I have to say before I reveal the results, the way I determined restaurant for this video is anywhere you could get a quick service meal on the Disney dining plan. If it's like a popcorn cart or even the delightful spring roll cart, that didn't count, because places like that don't typically have a bunch of reviews on travel websites. So I looked at places where you could get an actual meal. And according to the internet, the worst place in Magic Kingdom to do that is at the Lunching Pad, which had an average rating of 3.15 out of 5 stars. The runners-up for worst restaurant in Magic Kingdom, the Diamond Horseshoe over in Liberty Square with a 3.2, and tied for third, Pinocchio's Village Haus in Fantasyland and Tortuga Tavern in Adventureland with a 4.25. Now, I was a little surprised to see the Lunching Pad at the bottom, just because it's often forgotten. I don't think a lot of people know this is even here, because it's kind of nondescript, and I don't think a lot of people eat here as compared to like the big quick service restaurants around the park. But nonetheless, it had the lowest rating, so let's pick up something to eat. The Lunching Pad is located here at the bottom of Rocca Tower Plaza, which houses both the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover and the Astro Orbiter on top, which is why I think a lot of people don't know about it, because it's kind of hidden under here. And it primarily serves my least favorite food, hot dogs. There's multiple different kinds of hot dogs on their menu, as well as a couple other snacks, including a variety of pretzels and frozen drinks. They also do a pretty good quick service breakfast. They have like a queso tacho bowl, as well as sticky bubble bread, which it looks like they're serving all day long now. All right, mobile order was quick. I find it's usually pretty quick here, and I have gotten, probably unsurprisingly, the sweet cream cheese stuffed pretzel. This is one of my favorite park snacks, and I love the fact that you can mobile order it here at the Lunching Pad. Inside, you've got delicious sweet cream cheese right in there. A banger. This is the sweet treat for people that don't want a super sweet treat. It's just sweet enough because of the cream cheese, and then you've got the nice springy pretzel dough. The cream cheese is definitely what makes it sweet, because they've added sugar, and it almost tastes like a less sweet version of like cream cheese frosting mixed with delicious pretzel dough. So what's not to like? I know this is one of Alan's favorite park snacks as well, and again, you can get it a few other places in the park, but mobile ordering it is amazing. So generally, I think Lunching Pad is not super memorable. Again, I don't eat hot dogs, so I can't say if they're good or not, but I think this is a fine place to mobile order a snack in a very busy and crowded land. It's kind of fun to sit here underneath some of the attractions, although there's not a ton of tables, so you may have a little issue finding a table if it's really busy. Now, I do think generally Magic Kingdom has the worst food of any of the Disney parks. I just think that not a lot of it is great. There's a few good things, but there's nothing that's really like amazing, especially in the quick service realm goes. For my money, the worst would be Pinocchio's Village Haas, though, because the flatbreads are really a letdown. And whilst it's cool to look over Small World, I feel like Pinocchio's is, for me, the bottom. Generally speaking, I think the lunching pad is fine. They have a variety of hot dogs, which if you like hot dogs, that's fun. I think they get big points for having pretty decent quick service breakfast, which isn't always easy to come by at the theme parks. And who doesn't love an easy access pretzel? But the internet has spoken, and they think it's here at the lunching pad. And as always, we're going to turn to Molly's Review Corner, where I read someone from the internet's thoughts on this restaurant. And just so you know, I have no idea what this review is about to say. Alan selects the reviews for me to read, and he does a great job of picking some, interesting ones. All right. The lunching pad serves hot dogs and chips. We spent an hour in line for hot dogs and chips. How is it possible to be so slow serving hot dogs and chips? Cheetos are premium chips, so forget about getting those on the dining plan. I must be living under a rock because I had no idea Cheetos were so high-end. 1 star. You know, I also didn't know Cheetos were so high-end, but this person's definitely referring to the fact that if you get the meal with the hot dog, it just comes with plain Lay's. And even though sometimes they sell other chips, you can't swap them. So I understand being a little confused by that. Where I can't agree with this person is spending an hour in line because mobile order exists, and it's pretty quick. So I, too, would be annoyed if I spent an hour in line waiting for a hot dog, but I wouldn't because I would mobile order. So, you know what? I get your concerns, but also I don't get your concerns. Thank you, Yelp reviewer. But mostly I agree hot dogs are a 1-star food. Worst restaurant, check, and now it's on to worst ride. And for the rides category, again, I'm looking at physically moving rides. So that does not include shows like Mickey's PhilharMagic or Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. That's part of the shows category. It does not include any kind of like character meet and greets. It is just physically moving rides. And there's a lot to choose from here in Tomorrowland. It could have been the Carousel of Progress. It could have been the People Mover, Astro Orbiter, Tron, Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, or Tomorrowland Speedway. And probably unsurprising to many, the worst ride in Magic Kingdom honor goes to Tomorrowland Speedway, which had an average rating of 3.1 out of 5. Followed very closely by another Tomorrowland resident, Astro Orbiter had a 3.5, then the Barnstormer with a 3.75, and I just found this interesting, Peter Pan's Flight was number 4 with a 3.8. And I found that interesting because it's one of the most popular rides in all of Walt Disney World and consistently has one of the longest wait across the parks despite being here since almost opening day. And I think that is a great testament to how theme park people are different than more casual Disney park guests. Because if you don't have a lot of nostalgia tied to Peter Pan and you waited in an 80-minute queue for a 90-second ride, you might not rate it very favorably either. But I think Peter Pan's Flight is fueled by people like me and probably a lot of you who remember riding it as a kid, remember sailing off to Neverland with Peter, and that nostalgia factor bumps it up a lot. So while I can get on board with the Tomorrowland Speedway being the worst ride in the park, there are a lot of rides I'd put higher than Peter Pan's Flight for being the alleged 4th worst ride in the park. Now, I think the worst ride in the park is probably Astro Orbiter, just because there's 2 other versions of that ride in the park already. The line gets very, very long because of how painfully slow the load and unload process is. So Astro Orbiter would probably get my vote, but again, I accept Tomorrowland Speedway. A lot of people hate the gasoline smell that you're gonna experience on the ride. I seriously don't understand why these are not electric cars or why they haven't been rethemed to something like Wreck-It Ralph and Sugar Rush, but let's go for a drive and see how we feel on the way out. Tomorrowland Speedway has a 32-inch height requirement to ride at all and a 54-inch height requirement to drive alone. So if you're in between those 2 height requirements, if you've got a kid who's in between those 2 height requirements, they can quote-unquote drive the car, but mom, dad, big sister, big brother, whoever may have to reach the pedals for them. Now, this attraction usually doesn't have too long of a line. It's usually 10 minutes or less, making it a pretty good filler ride in between some of your heavier hitters, but I definitely don't think it's, for most people, worth more than like maybe a 15-minute wait. All right, let's hit the nods. I wonder if you know what I mean at Tokyo. If you see me, come and see me, and you know you run to go Fast and Furious. Drift, moved in with the cousin, left him with nothing but foolish rides on the other side. All right, just wrapped up my lap on the Tomorrowland Speedway, which is coincidentally a sneak peek as to what it's like to be in a car with me, except for in a car I can actually steer and I don't hit things consistently. Now, Tomorrowland Speedway, as an adult who drives a car, do I ever need to ride that again? No, unless they again change it to Sugar Rush, which would be amazing. But I do understand the appeal as a little kid that doesn't get to drive a car. When my nephews came a few years ago, this was like one of their favorite things because they don't get to regularly drive a car. But for most people, I do think it's a skip. However, it's not about me, it's about the internet, so let's turn once again to Molly's Review Corner. I did not enjoy this attraction. Despite the fact I flew 2,523 miles from LAX to go on this ride. That's your fault. I was immediately teleported back to the 405 during rush hour traffic. It's a good adulting simulator for children, I guess, preparing them for the day they too become a corporate drone, getting in their metal death box to crawl 5 miles down the road and gesture rudely at fellow commuters. Will not ride again. 1 star. That's pretty funny. All right, let's mix it up from doing the worst of the park and head to one of the best reviewed things, and that's the best reviewed, highest rated show in the Magic Kingdom. Now for shows, I'm talking theater shows. So nothing out on Main Street like the Dapper Dans, nothing like a live parade, not even Happily Ever After. I looked at the reviews for things that you could sit down inside a theater, like the Country Bear Musical Jamboree or the Hall of Presidents. Because again, there's just simply not a ton of reviews, or in a lot of cases, any at all, for a lot of the kind of more streetmosphere live entertainment in this park. There's 0 reviews for Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, which is the stage show on the castle. Very few for Festival Fantasy Parade. So we went with the theater shows. And according to the internet, the best theater show here at Magic Kingdom? Mickey's PhilharMagic, which won with an average score of 4.6 out of 5. The runners-up were the Hall of Presidents, kind of surprising, with a 4.35, and then the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, which is, yes, the new version of Country Bear Jamboree, with a 4.3. And while I have some feelings on the 2nd and 3rd place, I think there's a few stronger choices, especially than Hall of Presidents. I have to co-sign Mickey's PhilharMagic as being the best theater show in this park. It is a very cute 3D show where you're gonna see classic Disney music brought to life before your eyes, with featuring songs from beloved movies such as Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Peter Pan. They most recently added a musical number from Coco, and it's fun because it's the first time a lot of these classic characters have ever been animated in the 3D CGI style of animation as compared to the 2D animation which they debuted. It's also really fun because it's actually based on Walt Disney's original idea for Fantasia that came out in the 40s. He actually invented surround sound. It was called Fantasound, so that the music would sound like it came from all around you, like you were enveloped in the orchestra. Because prior to that, theaters just had speakers at the front and you could only hear the sound from the front. Walt also wanted the ushers to walk up and down the aisles waving lanterns or burning incense or tossing flowers so you could smell what you see on screen. And he wanted theaters to install sprinklers so that when you saw things like the water come from the broomstick scene with Sorcerer Mickey, you could actually feel the water. Obviously, this went terribly because most movie theaters are not going to do all that. They're not going to install sprinklers. Very few of them installed the Fantasound. So Fantasia actually bombed at the box office. However, it has since been re-released time and time again, and it went from being called Walt's Folly to being one of the most celebrated animated films in history. But that general idea of enveloping you and immersing you into the story comes into play here at Mickey's PhilharMagic. Just like Fantasia, it's musical segments, except for instead of classical music, it is Disney music that you know and love. It completely envelops you with both smells, there's water effects, and it takes it a step further than Walt knew about this technology. It's in 3D. Plus, it very rarely has a line. Most often than not, you're just waiting for the next show to finish and then you get to go in. It's like 12 or 14 minutes sitting down in air conditioning, and it's a fan favorite. Who doesn't want to listen to Disney music? It, to me, is a delightful show that is a crowd pleaser for all ages, which I think cannot be said for some of the others on this list, specifically Hall of Presidents. I think it's amazing that they were able to make that many incredibly impressive animatronics, but let's all be real, there is an age demographic that Hall of Presidents appeals to more versus this, which little kids all the way up through the grandparents are gonna enjoy. So I agree with this being the best one, but I don't think I agree with Hall of Presidents being number 2. So let's go in and enjoy. Pro tip, if it says 15 minutes, that means it's just one show till you get to go in. So 15 minutes is like the most you could wait if you happen to get in line right when a show is ending. But if a show ends in 5 minutes, you'll be in 5 minutes. If it says 30 minutes, because it typically goes up by 15s, then you might end up waiting for 2 shows to finish.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Oh, I just can't wait to be king. Colors the sky, ay mi amor, ay mi amor. There's a smile in your heart, there's no better time to start. I can show you the
Such a cutie patootie show. I especially love that it features Donald Duck, who isn't always at the forefront of experiences. I love his little duck butt at the end. It's just a cute show, and I dare you to watch it and not smile for like the whole thing, but at least a section of it. But with that, we head once again back to Molly's Review Corner for Mickey's PhilharMagic. This may be the most underrated attraction at Disney World. This is a 4D experience for all your senses, including sight, sound, touch, and smell. Donald Duck takes you on an adventure through some of the most beloved Disney animated movies, and with the great soundtrack to go with it. Do not miss experiencing 5 stars. You know what? I have to agree. I think it's a banger. I think it's a perfect filler ride, and I think it is a crowd pleaser through and through. Headed to the best dining experience now, and I believe for the first time in this Walt Disney World series, I had to make a reservation. I'm pretty sure, racking my brain off the top of my head, no other park had a sit-down restaurant voted as the top. So if you're playing along at home and trying to guess, that definitely eliminates a lot of options. In fact, technically, the top spot was actually 3 sit-down restaurants, all tied with the same score. But I'm the tiebreaker, and I picked the one of those 3 that I think is actually the best, and, let's be honest, a place I most wanted to eat. Which I guess helps it with being high rated if it's the one I'm choosing to go to out of the 3. Almost there now, so I will tell you that the second place winner, so under the 3 tied for the top, was Gaston's Tavern with a average score of 3.95. And the 2 restaurants tied with the one we're going to for the top spot, Liberty Tree Tavern in Liberty Square, and Cinderella's Royal Table inside the castle in Fantasyland, which definitely surprised me because a lot of people find Cinderella's Royal Table to be pretty overrated and very expensive, and that's one experience that I thought Disney people would be more into because it's inside the castle versus just your average guest, but I guess the charm of eating inside the castle is a winner no matter who you are. But we are here at Jungle Navigation Co. Limited Skipper Canteen for our best food at the Magic Kingdom. This is a Jungle Cruise themed restaurant, so much like the attraction takes you on the rivers around the world, so does the menu. You're gonna have African, Asian, South American inspired dishes, and your server's gonna be a skipper. Who doesn't love that? And I, for one, am tickled to see this at the top of the list because, one, I think it's pretty underrated. I think a lot of people aren't sure about the menu, especially if you've got a lot of pickier eaters. They maybe are a little not sure what the exotic cuisine is actually gonna be like. So therefore, it's pretty easy to get a table. I love the theming. There's tons of Easter eggs inside here. I haven't been in a while, so I'm excited to go and enjoy this. See if it still comes out as at least my personal favorite sit down in the park. So this is supposed to be the mess hall for the different skippers, but they've opened it up to travelers to come enjoy. And you're gonna see a lot of references to this lady right here, Alberta Falls, who is the daughter of the legendary skipper and adventurer who Schweitzer Falls is named after, Dr. Albert Falls, as seen right here. Jungle Cruise enthusiasts will definitely get that reference. And there's, again, a ton of Easter eggs in here, not only celebrating classic Imagineers, but also a lot of SEA things, which is the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, that's seen all over the world in Tokyo and Shanghai and Hong Kong. It started at the Adventures Club at Pleasure Island here, Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones. All these attractions are woven into that lore, and I love looking for details in here that help that story. So taking a look at the menu, first of all, like all of the other sit-down restaurants in the Magic Kingdom, you can purchase alcohol. In the grand scheme of things, this is relatively new to the park because for a long time it was a completely dry park, but now there are some specialty cocktails, beer, and wine available just at the sit-down restaurants. And they do have a fun selection of wine I'm looking at from all over the world, including South Africa, Argentina, Germany. They also have the Kungaloosh Spiced Excursion Ale, which is a signature drink for Walt Disney World that you can get here. Nomad Lounge and Animal Kingdom, Jock Lindsay's at Disney Springs, Kungaloosh being another Adventurers Club reference. And then taking a look at the rest of the menu, you've got your appetizers with things like a tuna tartare, salad, Falls Family Falafel. That's a plant-based dish that I know a lot of folks love. And then you have your entrees like the Dr. Falls Signature Grilled Steak. Tastes like chicken because it is. And Nile Nelly's Noodle Bowl. I am very excited to have been sat in the secret SEA room, which is behind a secret bookshelf, and it celebrates, again, that Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And if you look around the room, there are different items and totems that the different society members have collected over the years. There are some nods to some of the members. Again, Dr. Albert Falls, Harrison Hightower, who is not Joe Rohde, definitely not, over at Tokyo Disney Sea's Tower of Terror. And if you look around, you can even see portraits of Jungle Cruise as well as the SEA emblem all over the place. And if I'm dining in a secret room, it only makes sense that I would order something off the secret menu. Here we have the Brazilian cheese bread, which again is not listed on the menu under the appetizers, but clearly something you can order. It's delicious pão de queijo, which I'm trying really hard to say correctly, so let me know if I did it right. My friends that speak Portuguese. But it comes with a side of poblano cream cheese right here and chimichurri sauce, and it is a delicious appetizer, or in my case, because I'm a party of one, meal. All right, I'm very excited about this. Let's get some of the sauces. I haven't been here in a minute, so I forgot how good this is. But the Brazilian cheese bread is basically just a few ingredients. It's cheese, obviously, as well as tapioca flour. So I believe this is gluten-free. And it tastes a lot like the one that I always put on my Best of the Fest over at Food and Wine in the Brazil booth. But what makes this one better than that one is the dipping sauce. So you've got that hearty, almost roasted poblano flavor. It's not super spicy or hot, I should say, in the cream cheese, because the cream cheese kind of balances it out. And then you've got the very herbaceous chimichurri sauce, which almost has like a light sweetness to it. The two of them together, plus the cheese bread, which is warm and soft. A+. Probably one of the best things you can put in your mouth at the Magic Kingdom is this dish. Delicious bread consumed. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk all about the amazing Easter eggs in this restaurant and not point out a few of them. For starters, here's that secret bookshelf that led us into the SEA room. And if you want to know what book to pull to open it, it's probably not surprising that it's Kipling's Jungle Book. You can see that one's been pulled to open the door. And this bookshelf is amazing. I could spend hours in here reading all of the different book titles because I feel very confident that every single one that has an author is an Easter egg of some kind. They're either puns that you'd hear on the Jungle Cruise, like that style of joke, or they're references to different famed people throughout history, different SEA members, or different Imagineers. But I'm going to point out a few of my favorites. First of all, you've got Primates of the Caribbean, which is obviously a Pirates of the Caribbean joke, and it was written by Coates, which is a nod to Imagineer Claude Coates. You've got Boat Evacuation Procedures by Cap Size, The Mystery Castle by Cindy Ella, and then you actually have some nods to some now extinct attractions from the Magic Kingdom, like If You Had Wings, You Could Fly. That's a nod to If You Had Wings in Tomorrowland. You've got Mission to the Red Planet by Morrow, which is a nod to Flight to the Moon, which had Mr. Morrow paging Mr. Tom Morrow, which is still heard on Tomorrowland Transit Authority. You've got The Wildest Ride by J.T. Toad, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, featuring J. Thaddeus Toad. Another great pun one right here, Is This Deadly by Mort, Al. Meeting Royalty by Sklar. That's a nod to Marty Sklar, legendary Imagineer, as well as Great Characters of World Literature by Jay Lasseter, a nod to John Lasseter, the CEO of Pixar and director of Toy Story. Treasures from the Manor by Henry Mystic is a nod to Mystic Manor, an attraction in Hong Kong Disneyland, and very steeped in lore from SEA. Another of my favorites here, Friends for Dinner by T. Sam, a nod to Trader Sam, the now extinct head salesman of the jungle, a beloved character from Jungle Cruise. My server just pointed out his favorite, which is The Stars Above Us by Quill, which is a Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Another beloved character and SCA member, this is The Eyes of Mara by Jones, which is a direct reference to the Indiana Jones adventure in Disneyland. You've got A Small World of Traditional Wardrobe by A. Davis, a nod to Imagineer Alice Davis, who is a costuming Imagineer. She did a bunch of costumes on legendary attractions such as Pirates of the Caribbean and It's a Small World. And the last one I'll point out, True Life Adventures by W.E.D. That is Walter Elias Disney. True Life Adventures was a live-action documentary series that Walt and his team did featuring jungles and animals around the world, and it's one of the inspirations for the Jungle Cruise attraction. And then also right here along the bookshelf, you've got everybody's little Fez hats. And if you start reading the names, you're going to see, again, legendary SCA members, including Albert the Monkey, who's from Mystic Manor in Hong Kong, next to Henry Mystic, as well as Dr. Albert Falls. Couple more fun Easter eggs in the main dining room. First of all, you've got the Lost and Unfound, and you've got a box that is belonging to Jay Lindsay, and it says, "Warning, may contain live snakes." Indiana Jones fan will recognize that as Jock, Indiana Jones's plane, and his pet snake Reggie. That's the entire theme of Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar over at Disney Springs. Again, inspired by the first Indiana Jones movie in that opening scene. And then up here, if you look up, here's where some of the skippers live. And you've got Skipper Mark, Skipper Harper, and Skipper Bill. Those are all Imagineers that help bring the Jungle Cruise to life. Skipper Bill, who's in charge of plant studies, that's a nod to Bill Evans, who was in fact charge of all the landscaping and trees at the Jungle Cruise. Skipper Harper, that's who's in charge of cartography, a nod to Harper Goff, who is in charge of set design. And Skipper Mark, animal biological studies. He was in charge of anything funny and some of the character moments you'll see on Jungle Cruise. So anything that makes you laugh, like the folks being chased up the pole by the rhino or the monkeys, that is Mark Davis. Had a delightful time at Skipper Canteen. Don't forget my pro tip of anytime you get a drink, like a non-alcoholic, non-specialty drink at a sit-down restaurant, you can ask for a to-go refill. So if you get a soda, this is a vitamin water, an iced tea, they're happy to give you one to go, a coffee. So don't forget to do that. But generally speaking, I think Skipper Canteen is a very good restaurant, and it would be my pick, especially if we're considering sit-downs, for the best one in the park. I think it has consistently good food. I love the theming. I love the fact that your server skipper says things like, "Is everything so far so goody?" And at the end of the meal, "Let me introduce you to my friend Bill." And as a diehard Disney fan and Disney history nerd, I love all the references to SEA and all the different Easter eggs inside of Skipper Canteen. On one hand, I'm a little surprised that it made the top of the charts for potentially not huge Disney fans. I think Cinderella's Royal Table is definitely the most iconic restaurant in the park. I think Liberty Tree Tavern, which basically serves an all-you-care-to-enjoy Thanksgiving style meal, is definitely a crowd pleaser that's consistently pretty good. But Skipper Canteen, I feel like it's a little more niche, but I'm happy to see it on the top because I think that just proves that it's consistently good food, whether you're a diehard Disney fan or not. I'm also happy to see Gaston's Tavern crack the list because I do think that ham and cheese tart is delicious, and who doesn't love a giant cinnamon roll? For me, if I was gonna pick a quick service restaurant that has a little bit bigger, like one of the main quick service restaurants, I think Columbia Harbor House would be my top choice because you've got a little bit different options like the lobster roll and the grilled shrimp, consistently pretty solid as well. But again, this is, in my opinion, the worst park when it comes to food, and I think Skipper Canteen's a good choice. And now we find ourselves once again at Molly's Review Corner. We have been to Magic Kingdom many times and finally got around to eating here. I have to say it far exceeded my expectations. The restaurant is large and comfortable with a nice Jungle Cruise type atmosphere. The service was great and the menu had a main entree of beef, pork, chicken, lamb, fish, shrimp, and vegan, so there was something for everyone. I got a steak that was cooked to perfection and that was tender enough to cut with a butter knife. It was marinated and served with peppers and veggies on a bed of fries with a delicious mustard sauce. Others had lamb and pork and they were equally good. A good menu, great service, and a nice cool place to relax in the midst of the chaos that is the kingdom. 5 stars. Couldn't have said it better myself. And now, it is with a heavy heart that I don't leave this land, but take us to the worst show. That's right, friends. According to the internet, the worst show in the Magic Kingdom is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, with an average score of 3.65. The runners-up for the worst, Enchanted Tales with Belle with a 4.1, and the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor with a 4.25, which I gotta say are both still pretty respectable scores. There's a pretty big gap between 1 and 2 there, and I'm furious. The Enchanted Tiki Room, an opening day attraction, features music from the iconic Sherman Brothers as dozens of animatronic birds and flowers sing to you and delight you with their special skills. It hardly ever has a line, you're typically just waiting for the next show, and it's a lovely place to sit down and enjoy air conditioning. But most importantly, it's the birthplace of audio animatronics. That's right, the iconic audio animatronics that we all know and love today started right here at the Enchanted Tiki Room. Well, the one in Disneyland, but close enough. In 1963, this attraction debuted and it blew people's minds. They thought they were real birds and real flowers. And so even though this attraction may seem dated to some, even though this isn't a must-do for everyone, to call the attraction that started the revolution of audio animatronics the worst thing in Magic Kingdom is offensive. You do not get Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, Pirates of the Caribbean, It's a Small World, Haunted Mansion, all the way through things like the Shaman of Song and the Stuntronic Spider-Man at Disneyland without this attraction. But even removing my Disney history nerd appreciation for this attraction, it's pretty unoffensive. It's much more of a crowd pleaser and less polarizing than something like, again, Hall of Presidents, which is a much longer show, a much bigger time suck of your day, and Hall of Presidents is a lot more polarizing. It's got a lot more of a targeted audience. It's people are always mad when the current president speaks, no matter who it is. In fact, when they added Biden, they had to put in security guards because people were being too rambunctious and getting too offensive in there. So Hall of Presidents doesn't appeal to if you are not into American history, if you are a young child. Tiki Rooms should be appealing to everyone. So I'm gonna go watch it and see if somehow seeing it for the 1 millionth time changes my opinion. But let's just go.
Let's put on the show.
Mon ami, I am always ready, as you say, to put on the show. The birds sing words and the flowers grow. Sucette, hello Mimi, Gigi, Fifi.
As predicted, a delight. People were clapping along. People were laughing at the jokes. Let's go read this review, I guess. I'm not sure why this show is still open at Disney. It's weird, the effects are lame, and I have no idea how it is Disney. It's arguably the most Disney thing you're gonna ride, considering all the things I said earlier about the history of it, not to mention the fact that it's Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. The only good thing about this show yesterday was that it was air conditioned, so we were able to get out of the heat for a little while. I won't be going back again, and I wouldn't recommend ever waiting in a line for this show. 1 star. You know, Alan told me that one review was gonna really make me mad when I read it to you all, and I think we found it. 1 star. 1 star for the Tiki Room. I cannot co-sign. It's, again, even if you don't care about Disney history or know all the Disney history, it's literally unoffensive. It's literally just birds singing. It's very, they sing a Disney song. Let's go to the best ride, shall we? Calling the Tiki Room not very Disney, you might as well say that about anything that doesn't have IP. You might as well say that Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, It's a Small World, Everest are not very Disney. When they're I fear we have lost the plot. And now we head to the best ride. And it was actually tied for the best ride, but once again, I'm the tiebreaker, so I am choosing between the top two. And as we make our way there, let's review what were the runners-up. Tied for 3rd place, both with a score of 4.4, Dumbo the Flying Elephant and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I'm not surprised by Big Thunder being in the top 3 or on the podium. I am a little surprised by Dumbo, just because it's a pretty simple attraction. However, I'm thinking that the incredible use of the pager queue with the kids' play area is very appealing to a lot of people. Not taking out all the nostalgia people have for Dumbo, just the fact that your kids get to run around in an air-conditioned play area while you wait makes it pretty appealing to everybody. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, obviously a crowd pleaser. It's the wildest ride in the wilderness. You don't need to be a diehard Disney fan, just a lover of a mild, wild thrill to enjoy Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. 2nd place, Pirates of the Caribbean with a 4.45. Now, Pirates of the Caribbean would be my choice, at least for the top spot or tied for the top spot. It's my personal favorite ride here, and I think it's a perfect Disney attraction, along with one of the ones on the top of the podium. But if I stand right here, I can show you the two rides that, according to the internet, are tied with a score of 4.5 for the best ride in Magic Kingdom. Unsurprisingly, Haunted Mansion and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now, as the tiebreaker, I'm obviously going with Haunted Mansion. Opening day attraction, classic, iconic. I don't think there's a ride that has more of a cult following or a fan base quite like Haunted Mansion. It's a perfect attraction as far as I'm concerned. But I am tickled that Tiana's Bayou Adventure has the same score. Because when Tiana's Bayou Adventure debuted, there was a certain amount of Disney fans that were furious with this attraction, furious that the predecessors was being replaced, trashed this attraction on the internet, dogged it, said it wasn't a good replacement, said it was terrible, said all kinds of things, made it weirdly political about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. But I'm obsessed with the fact that people that are not deeply into the Disney theme park fandom still love this attraction and rank it very, very high as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, regardless of what was there before. In fact, Splash Mountain has a 4.2 rating. So while I don't think Tiana's Bayou Adventure is as good as Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean, I still think it's a great attraction, and the internet seems to agree. Just for funsies, we're gonna do a little bonus Molly's Review Corner, and I'm gonna read you some snippets of the Yelp reviews for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The update to Splash Mountain. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is still a fun attraction, and thankfully Disney has worked out a lot of the ride issues. I took friends for their first visit, and of the four, two of them said it was their favorite ride of the day. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is the newest Magic Kingdom attraction. It's a recently opened where Splash Mountain used to be. It is basically a facelift to the retired Splash Mountain. The ride is exactly the same, however the set is 100% different. That's what the majority of the reviews sound like. So again, while I don't think Tiana's Bayou Adventure outranks things like Pirates of the Caribbean or maybe even Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and I will say it does still have some downtimes that were associated with Splash just because of the nature of the attraction. But I do think it's a banger ride, which says a lot from me, a known hater of water rides. But let us head now to our final ride of the day, the best ride in Magic Kingdom, the Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion, an opening day attraction, a beloved classic, a feat of Imagineering with effects so incredible that they, for the majority of them, have stood the test of time and are still dazzling guests more than 50 years after it opened. This bad boy has no height requirement, but it does sometimes scare younger ones, so keep that in mind. However, the design of the mansion is genius in that the first half is spooky, scary ghosts, and then the second half is your fun, whimsical ghosts just having a great time in the graveyard. This attraction, again, has probably some of the most lore, detail, backstory, and is so cherished and so beloved. A perfect attraction. I could not be happier that this is considered the best ride in the park.
Which offers you this chilling.
The Haunted Mansion. Actually, we have 990.
Spiders, hail the rat, call in the spirits.
Folks of every size.
An absolutely incredible attraction. I don't have anything else to add other than I would consider this and Pirates of the Caribbean the two absolute must rides for everybody that comes to the Magic Kingdom. So let's turn for our final time to Molly's Review Corner. Let me just say, if you don't like this ride, there was something wrong with you. Genuine fear should be the only thing that keeps you away. For us, this is a fun ride. There was a group of 4 of us, and the wait was about half an hour to get on. Everything went smoothly, and we did have one person in a wheelchair in our group. They were very accommodating and made sure that they could transfer to the ride. The 4 of us rode in 2 different cars, and everyone had fun. For me, it had been over 12 years since I'd been on it, and I feel like there's been a few changes, and if nothing else, upkeep that was done. It was very enjoyable, and I look forward to doing it again one day. It's fun to check out all the stuff as you're in line for the ride, such as reading all the headstones along the way. I highly recommend this to anyone who is a fan. 5 stars. Well, there you go. And you know what I loved about that review? It proves my point that these are not people that come all the time. This person said they hadn't been on this ride in 12 years, and it still hits. I also like that they highlighted the accessibility of this attraction. 5 stars, no notes for me. Well, friends, that is a wrap on our day here at the Magic Kingdom. Again, the best and worst of the park according to the internet. There are definitely some surprises along the way, but a lot of things were correct as well. Let me know your thoughts about what we did today down in the comments. Make sure to check out the other episodes of this series, both at Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando. And in the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, come hang out with the Man Fam in Discord. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it's been magical. Bye!